Hi everyone, my name's Jessica with fulfilledandabundant.com, and today I get the amazing pleasure of speaking with Janet Tingwald, founder of The Opulent Woman, and she can be found at janettingwald.com. Janet is a life and love coach. So ladies and gentlemen, get ready to increase the love in your life. How are you,
Awesome.
Janet?
I am fabulous, Jessica. It's so good to be here with you and to be able to connect and to see you. And I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. So, how did you get started with becoming a love and life coach?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've been coaching since 2000.
Okay.
So for a long time, I started out in corporate doing leadership coaching and team building. Um, and I worked with all levels through different corporations. And then in 2008, things started to change, and I felt like my calling was changing to doing something different. And because I do believe when doors close, windows open, you've got to look for the windows, right? So it was like, well, where am I being called to now? Because I do believe your purpose courts you. And I was listening to a marketing seminar, and they said to make your mess your message.
Mm.
What was it in your life that it had given you the most pain and therefore the most lessons that you had to share with others? And I thought, well, that would be relationships. So I feel like I have a PhD in doing it wrong. You'll actually see that in my about things about me, that I have a PhD in doing it wrong. And at that time, I had met, which I believed was the love of my life. And 13 years later, we're still together. So I feel like I'm working on my master's in getting it right. Um, so what I realized in that was I noticed, noticing things. I noticed I was thinking as I would talk to people, oh, if they knew this or if they knew that, or, oh, and then a little voice said one day, well, maybe you could help them with that. And it was like, oh, maybe I could. So I started making that shift to working with people with dating.
Mm.
And now I'm moving into more into actually also including the relationship. It is really, I say love coach because it's really about having for women to be seen and heard and desired and to have a loving, fulfilling relationship, whether you're single or married. That's still what we want, right?
Yeah. And so, no matter where you are in your relationship, even if you've been with someone for 20 years, it's still appropriate to work with you because
Yes,
they will enhance the love in their life and kind of
yes,
turn everything around.
yes.
So, what would that look like for a woman that's already in a relationship?
For women, typically the women that I'm working right now that are already in a relationship, that they maybe feel like they're roommates with their husband, um, or they're just not. They're like two ships passing in the night. But for me, I need some kind of some foundational yeses. I need, do you respect this man? Do you still have some desire for this man? Maybe not, it's not, like a hot inferno, but you still have some. Do you still love him? And if they can answer those questions, then yes, then we can go somewhere with this. If they're no, they're probably not the right client for me for the work I do.
Mm.
Um, so if it's a yes, what I find by working with women and helping them to understand their role better, because we really are the leaders when it comes to love. It's not that men don't have emotions, it's just that they do. They're just not. necessarily they've not been trained nor had permission to really tap into them. One of the stats I read is women are in development are about 20 to 25 years ahead of a lot of men because we've been given permission. Just innately, we have more permission to take the time to explore ourselves and our emotions. And men are coming online, they are. But what I find is if I can teach the woman that she really is the leader in the relationship when it comes to love, and how to do that, because it's not just being the leader, it's how you lead men. So how to do that and how for her to then actually step into her opulence so that she's really an opulent woman, because an opulent woman knows who she is and what she needs and how to ask for it.
So, okay.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah, there is a lot. I've heard several places kind of the opposite wording, and I know you don't mean that, and so I want to dissect a woman being the leader in the relationship, because I've heard from other places that women have to stop leading and learn how to follow. And I know that you mean something different. So can we dissect that a little bit?
Absolutely. Great question. That's a yes and. The thing is that in a relationship, and this comes from Stan Tatkin, who is a relationship PhD psychologist and a relationship expert, that whoever turf it is, it's their responsibility to create safety.
Okay.
So if, for example, this is the one that always pops into my head. This isn't about my husband, but my cousin, because I still have a relationship with him, right? He's a pilot. We were out visiting him this summer, and we went flying with him. It's his responsibility to create safety in that environment, in that situation, right? Because that's his turf. Well, in relationships, emotions are the woman's turf. So it's our responsibility to learn to lead. But leading doesn't necessarily, that's where things get collapsed, that leading is like having power over or being the most powerful one. And that isn't what I teach. It's how you lead in love, not how you're leading in business. So if this is our turf, how do we lead? How do we lead men when it comes to love? Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. So understanding them and understanding how to talk to them. Now, when it comes to the pursuit, like when you're dating, absolutely do not go chase them. When I said I have a PhD in doing it wrong, when I was dating, I had been in sales most of my life and I was used to eating what I killed. And that was how I dated. It wasn't pretty. So, and so that was how I did, is I led that way in an aggressive, assertive, taking control way. And that did not get me what I wanted. There was one gentleman that when he dropped me off after the first time we went out, he said, "That was fun. We'll have to do that again." Well, being a good salesperson, I looked at him and said, "When?" as opposed to, just letting him saying, "Yeah, I did too. That would be lovely. I'd enjoy that." Giving them breadcrumbs, I call it breadcrumbs, giving them, letting them know that yes, you're on the right path, letting them know that yes, you want to do this too, but then letting them come to you. Because what I have found is in dating, if a man, especially, it's a little bit different with the millennials, but especially with the older, more traditional men, if they're interested in you, they will pursue you. They will take the time and they will pursue you. So that part of it, absolutely. When I started, I don't think of it as leaning back. I don't like that word. But when I started standing still, And I quit trying to run the show and let them step up, because when you do that, and you know this from the work we've done in the art of feminine presence, that when you create a space for a man to step into, it invites the healthy masculine to step into it.
Yeah, I'm getting to know that.
Yes. So as kind of blending these two together, and sometimes I know I can get kind of overwhelming because I've been doing this for 21 years. Men react to women. Women tend to adapt to men. So one day I thought about, if men are reacting to us and we are coming off as, frankly, masculine ball busters and making
A lot
them
of
wrong.
successful. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and there also is this thing now that as women have come into power and it has become a woman's world, maybe not, maybe it's only tipped like 52%, but it has tipped, that we now, it's like power over. Rather than looking at creating equality ourselves, we're having power over. Well, what that creates in men is they defend themselves. And when they're defending themselves, they can't protect and provide for us. So it brings out more of a toxic masculine reaction. So if we step into our powerful feminine, you see how it energetically creates a space for the powerful masculine, the healthy masculine, to come forward.
Yeah.
So it really made me think about, if they're reacting to us, how much are they reacting to a toxic feminine? And I don't know the definitive answer with that, but I'm being really, really curious about it. How much are they reacting to a toxic feminine?
So that would be a good question to like ponder in your alone time, is what parts of myself are toxic?
Well, especially when it comes to love and with interacting with men, because we have, and I got married the first time in 1980. And so in the 80s, we put shoulder pads in our suits and put on our heels and stomped on men to get to the top, right? That was the model. That's what we did. I'm not saying that was bad or wrong. It's just what we did at the time. But now it's like we are there. There's a few frontiers yet, but I don't believe that having, 9 Supreme Court justices that are all women is any more effective than having all men. We need both voices at the table.
Yeah, both effective.
So how do we create that? And my world is more about, how do we do that in our relationships to begin with? Because when you have it at home, it permeates to work, right? Your personal life is so important. So, and one of the things I have been doing is I've been asking men this question, and I've gotten 100% so far, is that my belief was that husbands, boyfriends, partners are basically sitting around waiting for women to tell them what to do. And they have all said absolutely.
Okay, so
no hesitation.
So men are sitting around waiting for women to tell them what to do. What is the right way for a woman to tell their partner what to do? And because I know there's a wrong way. So let's go with the right way first.
Oh, yes, there is a wrong way. I did that a lot. What I teach is it's goes against our instincts. It goes against what we are used to doing. It goes against what we've been taught. So it feels really awkward. But it's more about being really clear on what it is that you need and making a request and letting them provide that for you.
Okay, so you have too many things on your plate and you need help and you're stressed out and not in the moment very good at communicating, and you need him to do something, but you're sucking at your communication. How, what could be like a easy way for them to pivot into getting their husband to help out?
I need your help.
Okay.
That's it.
With what, honey?
Yeah. And then you've got to know. And you could say, in this moment, I just need you to hold me.
Sorry.
I just need a hug. I just need to know that you're here for me and that you support me.
Okay, but what if his favorite team is playing football right now?
You don't do it then. There's two things. If you're truly having, if it's a crisis thing, that's different. But otherwise, men are pretty much single focused. I have some favorite movies, or because I've experienced this. I'm watching my favorite movie or favorite show, and Bruce chooses that time to tell me about something. Pisses me off. I don't want to be interrupted right that moment, right? It's like, really? Did you not notice I'm doing this?
I'm so sorry. Sorry.
No worries. So it's not any different for them. So what I teach is to say, there's something that, maybe at halftime, there's something I want to share with you. We don't need to do it right now. You're not in trouble. Everything's okay, but there's just something I need to share with you. Could we do that at halftime, or could we do that after the game?
Okay.
So for one, because almost all men assume they're in trouble. So letting them know that you're not in trouble. It's okay. It's just something I want to share with you, or something I need to talk with you about. And then we'll do it later. So then that way he can kind of prepare himself also. There's something I need your help with, or something, and help is a key word for men. So putting them in a position to use their innate instincts to want to protect and provide. And it takes a lot of courage and leadership. It's more of a servant leader position.
Servant leader.
Yes.
Okay.
They talk about that in the work world of servant leader. Well, I kind of see that for people that are used to that terminology. I kind of see that in this. How do I, this is going to sound manipulative, but it's not my come from. The more I help him to feel good as a protector and provider, the more I get what I want and need. The more I appreciate him, the more vulnerable I am and letting him know what I need, the easier our relationship is, and the more I get what I want. And what my clients tend to say, I tell them this and begin with, and at some point they say it, we're working way too hard.
Us women.
Yes, we're working way too hard. For myself, it was like I needed, because of how I came up, in society, in the environment, everything that I thought I was supposed to be. I was trying to prove and I didn't have these words. I wanted to prove how strong and independent I was.
Yeah.
Which was basically terming it that I'm just as good a man as you are. And they're not looking for that. They, most of them, yes, they do want somebody that's smart. A good healthy man wants somebody that's smart, wants somebody that can, they're proud of us that we go out and build businesses or do things at work, and they're proud of us for that. But there has to be a space for them in our life. because
Yeah.
they need to be needed in a healthy way, not needy, not in a needy way. There needs to be a place for them to protect and provide. And maybe you make more money than them because that's not it. Then what's something else they can provide for you?
Yeah. They can build something that you don't know how to build, or
Yes. Or they can cook dinner, or, just different little things that, and love languages come in here also, that is really important. Or what are each other's love languages, of how you know that what you need, so you know what to ask for. That is so important. I remember when I was married the first time, my requests were more complaints. Why don't you this, and why don't you that, and I want this, or I want that, or whatever. But it was not in a way that he could hear me.
mm,
It was in a way that he had to defend himself. Now he and I we've been divorced for 18 years now. We're very different. My adult children say, I don't know how you two were ever married. um, But there was still that piece that I see now, and I just didn't know any different. So there is a way to lead in love to get more of what you want. And I had a client recently who had gotten to a fairly adversarial roommate situation, and there was something that she finally got up the courage to ask her husband for, and he literally said, yeah, I can do that. All you had to do was ask. And it was for an emotional need. He said, yeah, I can do that. I just ask.
wow. So it's learning the classic phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's learning how
It's
to,
learning to lead.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. And accepting that we are. And oftentimes my clients at the beginning will say, well, why do I have to do all the work? And I say two things. One, you're the one that's here with me. You're the one that has the skills, and you're the leader. We wanted the responsibility. We fought for the responsibility. We now have it. With the position comes some responsibility.
Mm, yeah. And so how does becoming an opulent woman tie into this?
Oh, excuse me, my nose is itching.
Oh, okay.
Well, for one, for me, it was stepping out of masculine, because I'd been in that world for my whole life. Was that, I really needed to detox. So one of the things that I did was, before I found the art of feminine presence, was I started doing things that I decided one day I was going to do things that made me feel pretty, in how I dressed, and how I did my hair, what I wore. And I kind of let my guide dress me every day. It told me to put on this pantsuit. Said, wear that today. Okay. And I just go put that on. It's like, what will make me feel pretty today? And I had some different earrings on, but they told me more color. So I changed. I do more makeup now than I was. I take more pride in my appearance, not to please anybody else or what anyone else will think, but because it makes me feel pretty.
Mm,
And you don't have to dress like me. You are gorgeous yourself.
thank you.
You're very opulent, in my opinion. You could have no makeup on. It doesn't matter what your style is, just that it makes you feel pretty. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to dress like me. Dress in the way that makes you feel pretty.
Yeah. I am also having that desire for that shift. So especially in my lazy clothes or my workout clothes, I'm starting to choose things that complement me a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, I have found that I'm now taking a little more pride in my appearance, except for when I have the moments that I don't.
But then you own it.
I do, yeah, because I don't care. I don't know if you're familiar with the department store Dillard's. It's a little more upscale department store. Well, I went to Lowe's a couple of weekends ago to get something for a project. Needed some spray paint, and I wanted to look at something else. And Dillard's was right by Lowe's, and I decided I wanted a new pair of gold hoop earrings. So I went to Dillard's with no makeup and in my work clothes, in my Sunday yard clothes. I I just didn't care. So it truly isn't about caring what other people think, but for the most part, what makes me feel pretty? I
Mm.
wasn't going to stop myself because I had the impulse, it's right there, just go get them. Just because what would people think? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I
So
didn't let
dressing,
that stop me.
yeah, dressing for yourself.
Yes, it is dressing for yourself, but dressing for yourself doesn't have to mean, not caring what other people think doesn't have to mean also I don't have to take care of myself. Because here's what I will also tell you is that taking care of yourself in your relationship matters.
Mm.
It just does.
Yeah.
Men are visual creatures. They met you and fell in love with you when you were taking care of yourself and putting your best foot forward. So we can't expect to just 20 years later that we never have to do our hair or our makeup and take any care in our appearance, and they're still going to be as attracted to us.
And I think that includes internal work as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because when people get comfortable, they start to back off of like, oh, I don't need to read these self-help books anymore. Or, I don't need to go for my goals anymore because things are good now.
Hmm. Yeah, men are attracted to our light. They really are. They're
Yeah.
attracted to our light, our glow. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, we don't glow anymore. So that's the first part of it. That's the opulence. That's the opulent woman.
Mm.
It's a feeling. And then, like your space, before we started recording, we were talking about your space behind you and how beautiful that is.
Thank you.
It just is, yeah, it makes me feel happy. It's pretty, right? So
Thank
I've been doing that slowly to my house. I just painted my front door white yesterday. And I've been doing that to other areas of my house, of doing things that I think are pretty and are pleasing to me.
Yeah.
And what that gives me, how that feeds me. Women need to create beauty.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be expensive.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think I have anything expensive in my house. Because for one, I get a charge out of finding a great bargain. I like expensive things at a great price.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes my day. One day my friend called me up and she's like, "Oh my God, I got this incredible bookcase for $15."
I know, right? It's like score.
It made
Yeah,
my
yeah, I
day
love that.
too.
Uh-huh. I love that. I found the TV console. We got a new TV and rearranged the room. So I found this new TV console that I was like, oh, I want this one. And it was almost $900. And I'm like, I don't want to spend $900 on a TV console. Not that I can't, but I didn't want to. And I found it on Amazon for 500, and instead of having to wait 3 months, I got it in 2 weeks.
Oh, great.
So, and I was like, yay! That feels like a win to me. It's like a little treasure hunt kind of thing.
It is like a treasure hunt. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
do that all the time when I go shopping. Um, it's like the designer in me. Okay, I want 3 shirts at $15 each. I want a jacket for $25 and I want a pair of pants for under $20.
Mm-hmm.
And how much does a normal pair of jeans cost? $60 and up.
$100.
Yeah. And a normal jacket, like on the low end, is $60 or $70. And so sometimes my shopping trips are frustrating, but sometimes it's like, oh my God, no way. I found these 3 amazing shirts for $5.
Yeah, right. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I did pay full price for this jumpsuit, this black jumpsuit, but I have worn it so many times that to me, that's still a good value. So I think our whole point is, Jessica, is not to collapse opulence with expensive and being materialistic. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be expensive. If that's your jam and you've got the money to do it, go for it. You know, it's all relative. What's expensive to me may not be expensive to someone else.
Right.
So it's all relative. The whole concept is it makes you feel pretty. That's your outer. Then the inner is, I think of my life being opulent because of the amount of love that's there, the gratitude, the appreciation that I have for everything that is in my life, the people, the clients, yes, my home, all of those things, my family, all of those things.
How beautiful. And okay, so we talked about women in relationships. Now what about for single women?
Single women. I do want to kind of just put a little wrap on the married women.
Oh yeah.
I do work with couples also. That's mainly couples that want to go from great to fabulous. They're still in a good place, and but there's maybe some little road bumps that can make it even like wow, right? The married women, basically what I do in working with them and learning how to talk to their husband, we at least get them, the goal is to get them out of roommate status and re-engaged. And then there's a decision of where it goes from there. Sometimes marriage counseling may be more appropriate than my work, but it at least gets them talking again, back in the bedroom again, that they now can hear in a place they can hear each other and do some deeper work. And that may or may not be with me. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
But it's the woman really owning her also. And I also, the other disclaimer I'll put out there is I tell them when we start that I'm not guaranteeing you that he will respond to this. But what I do know is by learning these skills and learning what you really need, how to speak what you need, how to have healthy boundaries, regardless of whether you stay or go, it will go with you. So it's always good work to do. But so far, all of the men have responded to this.
Very powerful.
It's so much fun. It is so much fun. So rewarding oh yeah.
And then when they go away, you like do a little celebration. Yes, it worked.
I do, you know, because I know the heartache of divorce. I do believe I'm with the love of my life, and there are heartaches still from divorce. And if there would have been a way that we could have worked that out, I totally support that. Totally support that, because it's something about keeping a family together. There are challenges when there's layers. And I'm not saying that's not to shame or anything. It's just, if you can, you do. And if it really isn't the right fit, then the best thing really is to move on. So, and we all have, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Single women. Single women, it's about attracting. It really becomes about, if energy seeks its own level and men are attracted to your light, then what are you attracting? So that's part of it to begin with, of setting up being in, I call it relationship FM. So are you in the frequency of a healthy relationship, the possibilities, the potential of it? Or are you in, it's never going to happen to me, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly. One of my favorites is In God's Time, where I believe that God says yes to us when we say yes. We need to, maybe there's some work we need to do. Maybe there is something different that we need to do, but we need you. There's a little story that goes these, or a little thing, and it's in the Bible. I can't remember what it is right now, but it's like praying like everything depends on God and working like everything depends on you.
I've heard that before.
Yes. So it's a yes and. It's a yes and. So being in that place, setting yourself up for your attraction to begin with, getting clear on who you are and what you want in your life, because the relationship has to fit into your life, not find a relationship and try to mold your life, which a lot of women do, have done, I did, because we're naturally adapters. And if you don't know that, then that's what you tend to do. So when you know who you are and what you want for your life, that puts you in the driver's seat. You're now the chooser. That doesn't mean that you don't let the man pursue, but you're still in the place of how does this fit? What kind of, and knowing not the man that you want, but the relationship that you want. So in some ways it's saying, I have a job opening. Well, can he do the job?
And holding that. Yeah, that's great.
None of it works if you can't hold a boundary and if you can't say no, and if you can't express what you need. It doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
And in some ways, not at all. So I teach you how to be the chooser, and literally the way that I work with women is that you let the man show you who he is by making requests and just being yourself, being absolutely authentically yourself, but then making some requests because it's appropriate not making it up, not playing games or making things up, but making requests and seeing how he responds, seeing how he treats you. And if you don't like it, don't continue to see him.
How powerful. It's a good show.
It's really simple. It's not necessarily easy because love is the most powerful drug on earth. It is. People used to say to me, "Oh my gosh, you are so confident and independent and blah 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 blah." And I said, "Yeah, put me in a relationship and watch me." Yeah. Yeah, different woman shows up.
Yeah.
Yes. So learning to understand those feelings and manage those feelings, that I didn't have to act on every impulse I had. Yeah. And I could stand still and let him show me who he was.
Yeah.
If you're not, I do think of it as a king and a queen that need to both ultimately be serving and running the kingdom. If you would not trust this man to run your kingdom, why are you seeing him?
I'm going to keep that one for myself.
It's really simple. Some of these things, now that I see them, are so simple. They're just not necessarily easy to do.
Okay. So then back up even more to meeting them. Do you have some tips that women could do to meet a higher quality king?
Yes. Be a higher quality queen.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
So I was reading one of your blogs, and you should all check out her blog page. It's insightful and interesting and fun to read.
Mm.
And you were talking about goals and how if your goals are not aligned, the relationship really isn't going to work out. So I understand once you're in a relationship, that will take some work and commitment to align your goals to the same thing. But when you're single, you have more power. So, but I know for myself,
Your choice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's a good way to get clear on what their goals are? You know how sometimes when you put your goals out there, they're like, oh yeah. And you know, the other person agrees just to move things forward, but that's not necessarily where they are. And eventually you find out, and that's annoying because, like, okay, either you don't know yourself or you lied. But what's a good technique to recognize that you both do have the same goals and to go from there?
Are you in your 30s?
Me,
yet?
I am, yeah. But I'm
Okay.
just for anybody, because
Yeah,
it's
well, no, there's a reason I asked that. In your 20s, it's a little harder. But by the time you get into your 30s and up, you pretty much can tell their goals and who they are by how they live their life.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? You can tell a lot about who they already are by how they live their life. In their 20s, you know, you've just gotten out of college or whatever, you're finding yourself still. So that's a little harder. You may not really honestly know what your goals are. You think you do, but maybe you don't. As you get into your 30s, and developmentally, men are more in a place of being grounded in that. Even if one of the things that women really need to pay attention to is not what they say so much as what they do and what they see. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, my goals are to get in shape and lose weight, and you can tell by their lifestyle. Maybe, but you have no evidence of that.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not. Yeah. Great.
Or, don't marry potential. That's one of the things that we as women, especially me, oh, yeah, get excited about that. And I'm a coach. I love potential. Let me help you with your potential. Yeah. So yeah, if somebody is in process, it's not that you don't want to put yourself in a position that you become their mother, their teacher, or their coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you don't support each other, but being careful that and that's where it comes in about really learning about how to lead and love and how to be a we. We're he and she way too much, and that independence is killing us. We need to, it's time to move into what a healthy we looks like. So there is a way then as a we that you do support each other. And there is times that I am coach-like in my relationships, in my relationship with Bruce. But when I do that, I'm very clear that I'm doing it, and I say that I'm doing it.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
Because that's not who I want to be to him. I want to be his partner. I want to be his lover. And his supporter, his cheerleader. I don't want to be his coach.
Okay. And then, so for couples that are together already, and maybe their goals are not aligned or they're not completely on the same page, how would then they get their goals to be in alignment?
Well, let me give us some distinction to the word goals, first of all.
Yeah.
goals can differ in a lot of ways. Values, each person has their own culture. Um, each person has their own outlook on life, which contributes to them what your goals are, right?
Right.
So when I say it's important for women to know what it is that they want for their life, and then the relationship needs to blend that way. And this part's really important because you could go out and you could meet a really, really nice man. And I'm just going to make up a story.
Yeah.
Great guy in so many ways. But he wants children and you don't.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right? Or you want children and he doesn't. Whatever that is. Or for my age, I was not going to I didn't want to date a man with young children. Mine were graduated from high school when I got divorced. I was done. So knowing those things, because you're in different places, and it just doesn't, when I met Bruce, he had a junior in high school. Well, that it was 18 months. That's doable. But a 5-year-old, no, that wasn't something I wanted to take on again, right? So knowing those things about yourself and saying, wow, you are a great guy, but I just being really honest with yourself, I can't do this. I've done that part of my life. Some people can, some people don't want to. It's knowing for yourself. And at my age, and a lot of women that I work with and friends that I have, we're looking at retirement. How do you want to spend that time? I had a client that was dating a guy that was quite wealthy and wanted to travel the world. She did not want to do that.
Oh.
And I was, in my head, I'm thinking, what? Why not? Why would you not want to do that? But it wasn't her. She wanted to be here and she was comfortable being here. She wanted to be around her kids and her grandkids. That's what she wanted. So we make each other wrong as opposed to we just want different things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's when you're dating, to pay attention to those things, and you've got to be really honest. So much of the time when I don't know if you can think about this, I know certainly I did, was that if I'm really honest, I knew I shouldn't have married my first husband. I knew it.
Mm.
I've asked multiple people different times that were divorced if they knew when they were doing it, and they said yes. I've asked some married people that have said yes, they knew they shouldn't have.
Wow.
So we lie to ourselves, we betray ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of choosing us first in the dating process, because if you don't, then it comes out at some point and then it makes it hard, right?
Yeah.
So be honest with yourselves. If you're already in a relationship, sometimes they are deal breakers, honestly.
Mm.
I knew a great couple. They had a lot of fun together, a lot of respect, a lot of caring for each other. But he already had children, and she said, I'm fine, and didn't want more. And she said, I'm fine with that. And a couple of years in, she said, I really thought I was, but the truth is I'm not.
Mm.
And then they divorced. So again, not trying to, and they did it so civilly, so amiably, because they were honest about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we're honest.
So sometimes there are things, and especially when you get married when you're younger, that your outlooks on life, what you want in life changes. That certainly was the case with my ex and me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to, it becomes not a compromise, but how do we find a win-win? Maybe with traveling the world would be, I'm willing to be gone for 2 or 3 months at a time. And then I'd want to be home for 6 months, 4 months, 6 months, right? And then you can find a win-win of, oh, well, I could do that. So there are ways that you can look for win-wins.
Yeah, being focused on the win-win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it needs to be a win-win, not a compromise. Compromise tends to, over time, I believe, creates resentments.
Yeah.
So really looking for something that you truly both can live with. And you are in a relationship, so it may not be 100% your way, but there should be a lift to it. There should be a not a fine, I'll make it work. I can do that. It should be a, oh, yeah, I could do that. There needs to be a lift to it, right?
Yeah. Oh, how beautiful. So, do you have anything else to add? I think I would love to. I know you
I,
I know you could go on forever, but I think for the viewers, maybe we should do another conversation.
yeah, part two or yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if I could distill it down to something, it's really working on yourself first, in the terminology I'm using of feeling opulent, feeling happy, feel how to feel really being powerful in your feminine, turning your light back on, what that really means so you feel good. Because this is not just about giving men everything that they want and, oh, I'm in service of just making them feel good and feeding their ego. No, that's not what this is about. This is about you really feeling good about you and leading in a way that invites them to be in partnership with you.
I love that, inviting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, you get to see if they're willing to show up or not. So
And
far, the people I've worked with, they have, but there are going to be times that they're not.
yeah.
That was actually my first marriage. He wasn't willing to, he wasn't willing to show up. He admitted that. He wasn't willing to do the work. And that's okay. I don't blame him anymore. I was mad for a while because that's where he was. And he has the right to be happy where he is in his life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was no longer the right fit for me, and then it's time to move on.
Mm.
Because we can't dim our light. No longer should we dim our lights.
Yeah. So how can you be more expansive, more expressive, more fulfilled?
Yes.
More.
And our light is fed by being seen and heard and desired by the men in our life, especially that one special man. Desire is fuel for us. It just
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I lie to yourself all you want. It is.
No, that's true. When an attractive man hits on me, it makes my day.
Yeah, it does. It's normal. It's okay.
Yeah. Even if I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to do anything about it, but still like, oh, yay.
It feeds us.
Yeah.
But we can't be throwing water on their light and disempowering them and expect them to be able to show up for us in a way that feeds our light.
Janet, I think that's a really important distinction of throwing water on their light compared to turning our light on, because there's a couple people that I can think of that they think that is how they turn themselves up, is by putting water on their partners. Like
that would be a toxic, yeah. That's a disempowered toxic, more of a disempowered toxic feminine. And in their defense, though, it's also a confused feminine, because they're doing what they know to do. They're doing what society is telling them, what we've been taught to this point. And it is time for women to lead, but we can't lead with like men. It would just be a different side of the same coin.
Yeah.
So we, inviting men into partnership with us. They didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But we can. We can create that.
Yeah. And then that just ripples out and affects everything.
Yeah, it's truly how we also then become truly happy. because human beings are meant to be in partnership.
Mm.
And there are some people, yes, there are some people that are fine, that really prefer to be single and to be alone, and that's great. But I have not met anyone yet that if I said to them, if you knew that you could be with someone, that it would be relatively fun and easy, would you want it? I've never had anyone tell me no.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah. I agree. I think so too. I think very few people truly want to be on their own.
Yeah. So it's never losing sight of hope, continuing to do your part, that you, whatever it is that you need to do yourself to move towards that, have your heart be more open to attract that,
Yeah.
and let the universe bring it to you.
I'm open to receive.
Open to receive love, whether you're married or single.
Yeah. Oh, how beautiful. So if people want to work with you, they can go to janettingwald.com.
Mhm.
And where else can they find you?
I have a private Facebook group just for women that's called Relate, Date, and Mate. It's all things about relating, dating, and mating with men. And I do videos in there usually once a week about different topics. Sometimes I just get in there and ramble about a topic because it's what's in my head at the moment. So, I want it to be a fun place, and that you can even ask questions, be interactive, get some tips. My blog poster, the links are posted there. So, yeah, join me.
Oh, how beautiful, Janet. Thank you so much for this time. And I would
Thank
love to have you
you.
back because I
Yes.
know lots of people would love to hear more.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being with you. I always love being in your presence,
Thank
in your
you.
energy.
Me
Yeah.
too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.